Thank you so much. And wonderful to see all our panelists, and welcome to this very interesting and the final session. So today, I'm sure there's been a very exciting session. Just before us, Pooja spoke about unified communication, and I think I'm going to take this cue from there. And there has been a shift in the experience landscape. It's just not customer experience, and there's a new tech word that has been, or the buzzword is total experience. Now, organizations are outperforming to achieve that total experience. There are 4 disciplines to it in terms of employee experience, customer experience, user experience, and multi-touchpoint experiences. It would be interesting to know from your businesses, how are you looking at post this pandemic? There has been a pause for people to, both employees and the consumers, in terms of how they are wanting to conduct their business, and the employee-consumer and advocacy. So Ram, I would like to hear from you in terms of what is that in your industry, in terms of creating the total experience for your guests and your employees, has been the recipe.
You want to take the mic, meanwhile?
Thank you. Am I audible? Yeah. Cool. Thanks, Rekha. So, like we were discussing on the other day, the total experience for me is taking care of employees as well as the user experience, right? So during pandemic, we all of us evolved, because that is something we were not expecting or expected, right? So we wanted to create a wonderful experience for the employees who join us. So right from interviews and onboarding experience and the training, because all these are virtual, remote, right? It was a very difficult task. How do we manage was a bigger challenge, and we were able to execute it very well. Then comes what sort of technology or tools or information made available for the employees, because it directly impacts the customer experience. If you don't equip the call center executive who are customer-facing, who are into customer-facing roles, it will directly impact the journey for the users, and they will not have a positive impression on the brand. So we focused on that as well. And also, a lot of people went through the mental trauma, right? We facilitated the wellness coach assistance for them. Roughly 30% of our employees opted for wellness coaching sessions. Barring that, employee perks and work from home benefits. We also conducted the survey called Great Place to Work, because we wanted to hear from employees how good or bad we are. We got certified there as well, and our Glassdoor rating is also 4.7, which is far better than some of the established firms. I would rather say that. Yeah, so that's what we have taken care of. And regular one-on-ones was very, very important, and skip levels, because while it is remote, we wanted to understand how they're doing. Are they facing any problems? Do they need any help somewhere? Right, and when it comes to on the customer experience bit, this industry is different, and I worked in a different industry earlier. So it's entirely different user base. The expectations are different, and your customer segments are different, your demography is different. So we had to analyze the data and see how well we can take care of their experience as well. With that, we introduced a lot of technologies, because it was just starting from scratch stage. Right from CRM, the knowledge base, then the calling tools, and social media tools. So all these things have helped us to enhance both employee experience and the customer experience as well. Yeah, that's what.
All right.
I meant.
Thank you, Ram. I think you touched upon a very, very important point of, the well-being of the employees, because they are the ones who are going to be delivering the experience that we are talking about, a total experience. Now, if Nilesh, if I were to ask you about technological interventions, there is multiple platforms, right, for agent or your customer-facing teams to deliver. Now, how has it been that you're interlinking and having a unified, single view for them to deliver that total experience that every organization is now looking for? And what are some of the best practices that has been adopted from your end?
Sure, Rekha. Thank you. And great question. Just want to throw in a little bit of, from a employee, how and why employee experience is important for customer experiences, because I think in today's most of the sessions, what we saw is everyone is focusing on it. There is a digital everywhere. Customers wants digital self-service, and that's a trend, right? I mean, look at ourselves. Anything that we search, we try to do it ourselves. If not, then I can't find it myself. Then I go to Google, maybe YouTube, go to peers, and then if nothing works, I pick up the phone or reach out to the contact center, right? I need some help. Now, when I've tried everything else, and then finally I'm reaching out to the contact center agent, that agent better be good, right? That defines my customer experience, how equipped that agent is, that defines the experience that the organization is extending to the customer, right? So the employee experience is extremely important, and how empowered the employee or contact center agent is. Now, you ask about the best practices and tools. One is, there are a lot of things that the contact centers put in practice, right, in the contact centers. Like, for example, to begin with, and I kind of being in sales, so I get the benefit of working with several customers, and I can tell you some get evolved over a period of time. But one important thing that we see often is the agents have multiple applications. So they have to toggle a lot. That adds a delay, confusion, incorrect answers to the customers, and then it goes on, right? So one thing, and there is a lot of focus that is coming in, is the single desktop, one view, and instead of agent looking for information, information comes to the agent, and that simple thing does wonder for agents, right? And does wonder for the customer experience. You avoid a lot of things. Your call handling times are reduced. Your repeat calls are reduced, and ultimately leads to better customer experience and so on. So one is from a desktop perspective. Yes, you have the unified agent desktop where you have the information coming to the agent rather than agent searching for it. And another thing that is kind of, I see the trend picking up quite well is the bringing the knowledge. Most of the time, the agents have to look for information. Not all agents, especially if you look at the financial services industry, they have so many products. Take insurance or any financial services organizations or the e-commerce platform. There are so many products, platform. Agents can't remember possibly all those things. So you have knowledge base, but knowledge base are word driven, etc. So what I see the trend picking up is plugging the knowledge into the workspaces. So even to some extent that while the conversation is happening between agent and customer, the knowledge base can find the information and push the relevant information to the agents. So there are a lot of tools that are happening. Some can happen on the real-time basis, but unification of the desktop lies at the core of it, as you rightly said. And it's there is a lot of things that are happening. Just a few things that I mentioned,
Right.
but there is a lot around it.
Thank you. Coming over to Arif, coming from the data science background, it would be interesting for the audience to know that how you use the business intelligence, connecting the entire customer life cycle, if I may call, right from your sourcing your lead to your sales to servicing to your feedback management. How is that your role in the banking sector enable the organization to see this is where is an opportunity for us to strive further? So some of the tools that you kind of use for the organization.
Sure, thank you. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Right. So I think, pandemic was a blessing in disguise for the bank. We focused on a couple of things very closely, and that was the thing is, one is we upskilled everybody. What I mean by upskill is that, now the organization of the bank, every employee is taking decision not by his gut. It's a more of a data-driven bank now. So everybody has a data at the focus, data at the ground to, debate in a meeting if there is any. Second, we took this opportunity to push ourselves to the new age technology. We moved into cloud. So I think in this 2 years of pandemic, slowly and steadily, we are the first one in the country to move into the cloud. We're the only bank, obviously the security, compliance, and all that stuff is there. But keeping that in mind regularly, we are the first one to move into the cloud. And the last part is, look, everybody wants to become a data scientist. I don't know why. It's just the 21st century, everybody coming out of college, school, where we're hiring. Everybody just wants to become a data scientist. Just because you see, look at numbers and look at Excel sheet, it doesn't come out that way. So we tied up with a very internationally tech company, and everybody has an access to it. And it really, took the employee experience to the next level. So everybody is more of data conscious now. Everybody is more of, upskilled themselves to a next level. We use a lot of tools and technology, and everybody is on cloud now. So everybody knows, so we usually primarily uses MS Azure. So everybody's on cloud. We are more of Python and all that stuff, so it's open source. And coming back to Nilesh is that, when there are too many products in the banking industry, what do I speak to the customer when a customer calls? So we've even cracked that. We are the first one in the country which has the next best action as if it's a Netflix of products. So when you go to Netflix, you are, when you watch a movie, when you watch a genre, you go to the next genre, so on and so forth. So in the banking industry, we're the first one to come up with that, where a unified screen is there, where the agent doesn't have to think. We tell them what you have to speak to the customer when the customer comes in. So obviously, it's a journey, and we already embarked on it. So it's a very good experience as an employee the company had, and we're still having it. So we're enjoying the benefits of it.
So brilliant. So it's basically the agility that we are looking at, and quickly to train and upskill yours. So I think the whole pandemic has allowed people to pause and reskill, upskill, and repurpose the skill sets. Zeenat, I would like to hear from you. We've been talking about AI, machine learning, and there are so many words that keeps coming out in the space that we are in. How is that your employees are being, upskilled, where he said in the industry that they are? How quickly they're able to adapt, and do you see there is a gap between the pre-COVID levels of intelligence? Is there an emotional quotient that is, helping them to adapt to the changing needs of the consumer at this point in time? Have you seen a shift in that approach from an organization point of view?
Yes, definitely, Rekha. So good afternoon, everyone. Definitely, Rekha. So firstly, I'd like to mention that the pandemic has given us all a reminder that we are all humans. We had all become very, very mechanical, and the pace at that we were all running, we came to a big jolt, a big pause. And then we were forced to reflect on what all is happening with our customers, with our employees, and therefore we go to that total experience. Now, coming specifically to your questions, how fast are our employees being able to upskill and adapt? The ICICI group, as you know, has been revolutionary, and they keep on innovating even before time. So once COVID hit, in no time, we were all upskilled. We had upskilled our contact center agents, and they were already working from home on their soft phone login with mobile phones. However, yes, they had lots of difficulties because, they come from all walks of life. They're not from the high-level society where they have good infrastructure at home. They have lots of many family members, and yet they had to keep up with the pace and also cater to the consumer needs. So we quickly put up a small micro enterprise within the organization to look at all these needs. This micro organization was called Flexible Workspaces. And this micro enterprise looked at all aspects of the needs of the employees during the pandemic, right from the policies, how many hours they would work, what would be their dress code, to going to the last detail, is it okay for a contact center agent to be having coffee and answering the call? So all those policies were put together. We looked at all aspects, right, domestic, professional, leaves were, the employee leaves were reaccounted. They had more space in terms of customer turnaround time. We reduced our contact center time. We introduced split shifts where the employee could decide and choose from what shifts he would be able to work from. We appointed consultants to save on our cost. We opened our doors for consultants, retired women professionals, anybody who has been jobless, people on sabbatical, because we needed manpower at that point in time. So we did away with all our conventional policies and legacies, and that's how we were able to upskill our call center, not only our contact center agents, the entire support staff with the flexibility that we gave them, and we accommodated and looked at the fundamentals of being humans.
Brilliant. I like that whole concept of which
flexible
is
workspaces.
Very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Coming to you, Aalok, just wanted to understand with the space that we are in and the business that you are into, there are multiple touch points in terms of, a consumer can reach out to. And your social platform is one of the double-edged sword when you want to, voice out your concerns. Now, how are you integrating all this multiple touch points? Because as a brand, your total experience is when you're catering to all these touch points and there's a unified, service delivery. And what kind of strategy or, best practices are adopted in your space of businesses?
Thank you so much. So Rekha, I would take a step back here, right? I certainly would want to put across some point in terms of what is the total experience, right? When we speak about a total experience, it's not only about what experience we are giving to our customer base. It combines multiple things to it. In that, one of the element which we really want, the question which you asked is that what is the multi-experience that we are giving to our customer base, right? Precisely, if I have to put it in a layman language, what it means is that wherever our customer footprint is, we are available there, right? And in order to make it available, what we are doing is that we are just analyzing as to that what all are our customer footprints. And nowadays, it is really very important for us to be everywhere. The customer are going digital, right? We are into the metaverse. We are feeling that metaverse is coming up. And while we are talking about all these things, right, it is really very important that we serve to our customer, because the customers can be anywhere. They can be over a call, they can be over an SMS, they can be over a WhatsApp, they can be over a website, application, what we have. On top of that, they go on to the social media also. So all those vertical are looked upon, and then what we do is that we are going multi-dimensional in order to help our customers. And it's not only about helping the customers, it is also really very important for us that whatever query they have, whatever complaint they have, it gets defined or addressed within the stipulated time, right? And benchmarking and keep raising the bar is one of the other element which we have adopted as a at a CoinDCX. And on a quarterly level, what we're doing is that every quarter, whatever we achieve against the benchmarking of the SLAs, that in X period of time, we should be resolving the customer's query if it's coming over an email, or if customer is coming on a chat, it has to be a resolution has to be within 10 minutes of time. So what we are doing is that every quarter we are benchmarking our SLAs, that what we have achieved against what we had previously benchmarked. And quarter over quarter, we are considering the improvement of 10%. And that's the the scale which we are aiming at. On top of that, it is also really very important from the data standpoint or data point of view as to that what our customer needs. And that also defines user experience. So when I just want to touch upon a little on a user experience is that's when the CX and a product team has to work hand in hand. It is really very important that experience has to be given by itself. And precisely, if I remember the previous session, what Usha was mentioning, that the product has to do everything, and that's the kind of AI integration which we are looking forward for. That according to no support is the best support, right? So we don't need any support, that's the best support, and that's the kind of stage we want to achieve, that there should not be need of any human intervention wherever customer needs anything. So this is sort of aim what we have. And at CoinDCX, we have a vision that we should be accessible for each and every Indian. They should be using CoinDCX, as an default application in order to trade into the cryptocurrencies. So that's the vision what we are aiming at. And yes, we have, put across our roadmap effectively, and that's how we are going to achieve it.
Thank you, Arif. I think you touched upon a very interesting topic. While we are speaking about experiences, total experience, how are we measuring it? What is the metrics which he spoke about? Quarter on quarter, there is a increase in when it's a sales organization. Yeah, my sales revenues talk about. But when we are talking about a total experience, there's a brand loyalty that builds into, right, for giving that experience. So it would be interesting for the audience to know what are the kind of metrics that you follow in your industry to measure this total experience. So Ram, would you like to? Yeah.
Thanks again. So to measure the employee experience, we have multiple touch points. One, you have an anonymous survey rolled out very frequently, right? The engagement score, employee engagement scores. Also, the employees, we do encourage people to go ahead and share their rating on Glassdoor. And also the feedbacks, whatever we get. Next one, attrition of the company is very, very important, right? So from last 9 months, from the time I joined CoinSwitch, my attrition rate is around 1 to 1.5%. It's a contact center. You might have seen the contact center, the better e-coms, ranging between 4 to 6% or as high as 8%, and the BPOs goes beyond 10%. The 1% attrition tells how much they're in love with the company they're working for. A lot of things I have done from the time I joined. I've reduced the working schedule to 7.5 hours. I've given them 1.5 hour break. Contact center for a lot of them is like a cost center or revenue generation center for BPOs. They don't want to lose half an hour productive time. And even the captive units, they don't want to spend, right? But I want to spend that in order to enhance their experience. So got a lot of positive feedback, at least in my experience, in my tenure, 16.5 years experience. I have not seen any company giving 1.5 hours break for the contact center employees. That's one of the milestone. And we do this SWOT analysis, strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. A lot of people, the org hired a lot of people because there was a surge in the volumes. We've seen a lot of people subscribing and doing trading because it's fintech. We didn't see a downside during pandemic. So had to hire people without any thresholds or skill sets. So when we realized that, we understood, okay, some people are not good with chat or call. So we had to arrange the skill set training for all of them. And also, I ensure I engage them in all the decision-making aspects, right? It's not like I discuss with top level and just roll it out without even taking their feedback. So all these things are helping me to drive this employee experience. When it comes to customer experience, of course, you have, again, a lot of places where you can take customer feedback. You can measure customer effort score. You have NPS, globally driven. You have retention score. So yeah, these are key metrics, I would rather say, and also the repeat rate. So like I was saying, for fintech, the CSAT doesn't matter. For example, I hold my salary account in HDFC Bank. And if I have a bad experience, right, don't look at me, I didn't. I'm just giving an example. I don't change my salary account in the very next moment. I'll rather stick with HDFC company. So the CSAT doesn't matter. Maybe we have to look at different metric for me, right? The customer like me. Next, versus the companies like you have on-demand delivery, had a bad experience with Swiggy. So I'll switch it to Zomato. I don't have any hold or restriction there, right? So different companies had to adopt different metrics. It is not like always CSAT is great or other metrics not great. So you have to look at the industry and say, okay, for your industry, the CSAT does matter, right? Yeah, it's an important metric to measure, but how that is going to impact your business, we need to analyze that. So if not CSAT, what else you want to measure? So we are on track with that. So yeah, both are going hand in hand. Like I mentioned, I would always prefer to put a red carpet for my employees because I want to treat them like celebrities. Then only they will take care of my customers. Otherwise, they will not engage themselves. When the engagement score goes down, your customer retention or business also runs under loss. So it's a theory I follow. So that is helping me.
Absolutely, a happy employee, a happy customer. I think you kind of touched upon a point that, the same size does not fit all. You don't need to, if everybody is having this particular technology adopted. So as an organization, we also need to go. And that's where I think the problem that we are seeing is that we have multiple solutions, as a user departments in your own organizations will have each time a requirement. Now, how is that your frontline staff been able to manage so many applications, be it your CRM, be it your knowledge base? If it is not sitting in one place, it becomes a challenge, right? Now, how do you measure these requirements, need-based, for delivering the total experience? What kind of technology, what is the involvement of the CX team in your organizations in identifying those technologies that is required? Because most of the time it's observed that, okay, this is the best. We need a contact center because we're getting so many calls. Yeah, we need to have a machine learning because my competitor is having. So how is that you all influence your management decisions in deciding what kind of solution is required for the business? Is there Yeah.
Should I?
Please.
Oh, you want to go?
Question for him, right? Yeah.
Okay, I can take that. No worries.
Oh, yeah, this is what.
There's one simple word, but it's a very powerful word. It may sound very, very simple word right now, but it's a very powerful word, right? Again, so the collaboration is the word, right? So what we did, right? So 2 years back, as an analytics person, I did not have any target exactly in sales. Now I'm doing 40% of my business. I am responsible for doing at least 40% of my business without any human intervention using AI and ML. And that's what I'm doing. I've proven that. Now, what I mean by collaboration, right? So I have a common goal. We have a common goal. It's basically cross-sell. So for example, you have a sales goal, right? Now, that's not a single person's aim. So what we did in the organization is we bought all the different expertise from every department working towards that whole thing. Right? That's what we termed it as pod, P-O-D, pod, right? So what it means is basically collaborative and working towards a simple goal together. Now coming back to your question of how do you measure metric, there is not a single metric to measure, right? Because for me as an analytics person is identification of a customer correctly. Whom should I talk, when should I talk, where will I talk, which language will I talk? So that's my metric. For a communication guy, is a click-through rate, click open rate, all that stuff. For a brand communication, it's more of a brand recall value, correct? For a sales guy, it's always the numbers. For a call center, is how do I make sure that the call remains, I make sure that the conversion happens. So it's a metric different, right? So everybody had a metric and everybody started working towards an individual metric to reach to that primary goal, right? So this is a very simple word, but very powerful word. It's called collaboration. I think if everybody starts working in collaboration across teams, I think nobody can stop anybody.
I think you touched upon it's very, very important. We realize that in organizations, when we are in silos, there is while you make money, there is also a leakage because of individual functions working in their thought process. Rightly said, co-creating and collaboration is the future if we were to deliver the total experience. Zeenat, if I may to ask you, since you are in a space of taking care of insurances, right? Yeah. Now, in this pandemic, we were discussing that the consumption is very high, especially from a medical point. Also, how was that your social listening, platform? You take the insights from there and arrive at a strategy for your creating a value for your consumers. So what kind of methodologies that you use? I mean, what is the solutions that you use from a social listening platform?
For social listening?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so we have a central body who looks at all the social platforms and they're listening to everything, positive, negative, neutral comments, responses on comments basis the campaigns that we launched out and how the reactions have been, and then accordingly strategizing with a proactive and reactive customer engagement. So once we did this has been very, very successful for us, because what we believe, Rekha, is any customer who's making the effort of reaching out to you or talking to you will have a higher stickiness than a customer who's not engaging with you. So these customers who engage with us, we do reactive engagement with them and talk to them and are very, very sensitive to each and everyone who reaches out to them, because somebody who wants to stay with you will take the effort of coming to you, talking to you, trying and resolve their problems. Somebody who wishes to go will silently walk away. So you have to be very, very sensitive of people who've come to you. The other is we do proactive engagements for customers who are silent but are still there. So we just keep giving them soft nudges, asking them about wellness, giving them value-added services. So value-added services in the health space are doing a big turnaround for us in terms of upscaling our customer experience and more stickiness. And customers now proactively wanting to know about what value-added services you can give them.
Right.
So
interesting.
that's
Yeah.
why.
So Nilesh, if I were to ask you about being a sales, focusing on the sales, what kind of business intelligence or your technology that you use for enhancing your sales revenue through this multiple touch points that we are, or you want to do a conversion? If you may have some use cases where your sentiment analysis has derived you to create a new service offering, it would be interesting for the audience to know about that.
Sure. Yeah, I think very relevant question in today's times. What we see and what I see as a trend that is currently going on is from a sales perspective. The couple of tools that are playing very important role, and one is the analytics part of it, where and extremely solid use cases specifically from sales and customer retention perspective. I see the speech analytics is playing significant role in this particular aspect, right? Because what it essentially does is it understands the customer voice, right? Surveys are one thing where you are asking a direct question to the customer, but when the customer are speaking with an agent, they are speaking their mind. If they are not happy, it shows in their voice, in the words that they choose, etc., and so on, right? The speech analytics understands what's happening. It works on a both historical as well as the real-time basis. And in fact, from a sales perspective, real-time, both are equally relevant, I would say. So it understands and guides, Arif mentioned about next best action, right? So this is extremely helpful use case in terms of cross-selling and upselling, right? What to do. Let's say is when the customer is speaking, let's say it's a customer service call and customer is speaking with an agent, and then you need to identify whether this customer is calling for this service, but this is a good prospect for this product X or product Y upsell, right? Now that notification can go to the agent in time, and agent can pitch that once the query is addressed, right? That's the analytics job, right? It can do on a real-time basis during the conversation with the customer, right? This is one aspect. Second aspect, specifically from a sales perspective, is in sales organization, there are always the top performers and bottom performers, right? So the challenge always is how do you improve the efficiency of the bottom performers, and that is where also the speech analytics plays a very important role. What it does is on a monthly basis or a quarterly basis, you can compare what is it that is making the successful top performer successful, and what is it that specifically the things the bottom performers are doing, and you extract that detail, get those insights, and use it in the training to lift the performance of the bottom performers. So that's another way, the analytics helps in improving your sales performance and so on. So this is one, and second thing is most of the times, the third thing is about most of the time sales is happening through outbound calling, right? In financial services, insurance, there is a lot of outbound calling, and you sell insurance, credit cards by making outbound calls, right? So uploading the lead list is one thing, but if that lead list before upload goes through some sort of analytics and some sort of intelligence is applied to that list. So instead of making a million calls in a day and just getting 10% hit, rather, if you apply analytics based on the historical patterns, the customer behavior, and other data that you have, you don't need to reach out to a million customers. Probably you need to reach out to only half of them, but even get better results out of those. So I think analytics plays a kind of lot of role in enhancing sales, specifically if you're asking about the sales enhancement question. So that's my experience so far.
All right, thank you, Nilesh. Alok, coming to you, I just wanted to understand in the space that you are in, fintech space, it's a very new domain, right? There's a lot of awareness that is getting created in terms of your cryptocurrencies and your bitcoins. There is a lack of. So how are you using the technology to reach out to the right audience? What kind of strategies or tech-enabled initiatives that you adopt in your space?
Thank you so much. And this is really very interesting, I would say. First of all, it is really very important for us to make our user base or customer understand as to that what is a cryptocurrency, what is a blockchain, how does it perform, how does it work. So what we did is that we came across with really very brilliant idea of creating our own platform. So what we do is that we use make the most usage of the technology what we have. So similar to the YouTube. What we did is that we created our own channel, which is DCX Learn. That's where we speak about the concept of the blockchain, what is a chain, how the chain works, what is a cryptocurrency, what technology cryptocurrency works on, how to predict, how not to predict, right? Do your own research, etc., etc. So these are the few of the things what we do on a constant basis. On top of that, we are also taking lot much of help of social media platforms such as Instagram. So what we do is that we have a community on Instagram. We have our own Instagram page. We keep on creating a content which helps user base and customers to understand that how this is a future or why this is an asset class investment. And it is almost equivalent to the gold, right? How we invest in the gold. So these are few of the mediums that how we keep reaching out to our customers. On top of that, we are also present on some of the community channels such as Telegram. That's where we have our own community wherein we have kept it open for entire our customer base and user base. They can keep posting their questions with respect to what is a cryptocurrency, how blockchain works, if they have any doubt in a mind, etc., etc. And we keep pushing them. Apart from that, all the social media mentions what we have. So as Zeenat rightly also said that social media listening is something which is really very important, and it's beyond the universe. And being available and helping our user base and customer base is something which is very critical. And these are similar some of the I would say verticals, or I would say avenues that we have touched upon in order to keep us available into the market space and catching up the pace with how the technology is advancing.
Thank you. I think a lot of insights to consume and churn it out. Coming to the end of the session, it would be interesting to hear from you quickly. What is the roadmap that each one of you all have thought through for your organization? Because total experience is something which is evolving. as the technologies come in. Yeah, so just to wrap it up, I would use the 3 C's, of which he said one was collaboration, communication, and connecting, which is something for us to achieve the total experience. So I don't know if we have more time to, no, we don't have. So I will not take any more questions. Would we want to open the forum for the audience? Yeah, all right. Thank you for me. A lot of insights to take back from each one of you all. Thank you so much.
Check.
Pleasure.
We do have time for one question, please. Could we get the mic quickly passed to the gentleman who just raised his hand in the center? Do we have the mic? Can we just, yeah. There's no mic? Wait. Yeah, right here. Okay. Just allow us a moment. Just one question in interest of time. Of course, we'd like to respect our panelists' time, and we've got an award ceremony following this. I just request you to keep it short and concise. Thank you.
Hi, my question is basically the product offering based on the predictive modeling. How does this help on the ROI basis? How it adds onto the bottom line, and how much benefit it added to the bottom line?
Look, sorry, you want to go ahead? Yeah, I'll take that, right? So look, it has actually been very beneficial because I've been more of relevant to the customer, right? So it's a journey, as I said. So we've embarked on a journey and we ride on it. So it's showing us the results. Obviously, there are places of improvement, and as we move along, it's going to obviously improve our whole thing. So it's a journey. It keeps improvising as we go on. It's like a
since you have a customer base, a database, and long interaction history along with the balance of the customer, it is quite likely to help you analyze it in a better way. The prediction would be much better. How about other industry where the customer behavior and interaction won't be available to the extent that you have it? How do we apply such kind of predictive model there?
So you mean to say external data? How do we use external data?
Yeah, exactly. More or less without banking information.
So I think, look, external data, we do not get it because we do not get at the customer level. I do not know who's the customer. We just get an aggregated level, right? So that doesn't help us.
Perfect. So with this, I'd really like to thank our panelists, ladies and gentlemen, and huge round of applause.